I was venting out of hurt, not out of anger. It wasn't malicious. I was hurt. Like I was hurting. And for me, I was like, no one's asking me why I'm upset.
Lisa, I am so excited about this upcoming season 3. I mean, what are you most nervous, most excited about for this season?
Oh my gosh, so many things. So I think like when it comes to being nervous, we didn't exactly leave season 2 that great. And honestly, season 1 didn't end that great either. So I just feel like it's going to be a lot. Just from what I lived, I would definitely say the key word for me for this season is retaliation. Like there's a lot of retaliation, and not from me, from others.
From others. I mean, leaving off the reunion, how are you feeling? And kind of when you started this season, like you said, were you kind of going into this season with the mindset of retaliation, or how did you kind of approach this season?
No, I went into this season thinking like, hopeful that I could make amends based on the way we left things at the reunion. I was hopeful that I'm like, okay, we should be able to make amends. Like when you're friends with someone for 10 years, you should be able to go in and have a conversation and make amends. And I just think right off the back, it was like ice Lisa out, be super cruel to Lisa and punish her, which that's not how I live. That's not how I behave. So I was kind of surprised, especially given the fact that like, hey, I took full responsibility for my hot mic moment. And honestly, for me, there was so much buildup going into my room that night in Zion. Like I had just had enough, like van ride from hell, dinners from hell. Like there was nothing, like there were peaks of like happy moments, like one night when we were all dancing. But other than that, it was kind of rough. And I think for me, I had just had enough. I didn't want to be mean to my friend. I went in my room and I thought it was going to be private. Like I was packing my stuff to leave and I'm like, get me out of here. I mean, there were expletives in there and I didn't really think about it. Like after I called my husband and I'm like, I was so upset, like I couldn't take anymore. And then to have to watch that like 24 hours before the reunion, I was like, it didn't matter what else was said or done. It became like the fixation point. And where I thought I had good relationships and where I thought I was going into the reunion with others, like being my friend, it was like, a pile-on. And luckily I have like a strong sense of self and, I'm not afraid of conflict, but it was a lot. So, that definitely carried into the beginning of season 3. And, I knew that I needed to repair, like I wanted to repair friendship, but there's only so much you can do before it gets to a point where you're like, okay, like, I don't need this. Yeah. So I think it was rough.
Yeah, no, I mean, did you want to repair that friendship with Meredith? And did you think that you would? Because, I watched the first episode and, we see you kind of go up to Seth at the party and try to like make amends that way. But were you hopeful going into that would happen?
I didn't think we couldn't make amends because when you look at the things that other people in our friend group have said, like the whole Zion trip, 10 boyfriends, 10 lives, half of the Upper East Side. So many other things were said and it wasn't things I felt. Those weren't things I was thinking. Those weren't things I felt. Those were not things that were confided in me. I just literally hit a boiling point where I'm like, oh my God, my feelings don't matter. And I'm so upset. And then to have to like, you're basically asking for forgiveness. And just seeing all the other relationships and the damage that has happened with other relationships, I was hopeful that I'm like, we just need to have a conversation. We need to talk it out. I did not repeat anything that was told to me in confidence. I was venting out of hurt, not out of anger. It wasn't malicious. I was hurt. Like I was hurting. And for me, I was like, no one's asking me why I'm upset. I have not seen the first episode, by the way. So I don't even know what's in it. Just from the clips I'm seeing and what I lived, I'm like, this is not going to be fun.
Did you almost feel like an outsider coming into this season then? Because I know, the first episode we see you having lunch with Heather, and Heather's like, I can't believe like I'm even doing this. So did you feel like you didn't really know who to turn to when this all first started?
100%. And honestly, like, I think there's a lot of hypocrisy that happens, like, just based on even the things Heather told me in Zion, and I talked to Heather about it. I'm like, you guys all flipped on me. Everyone was telling me Meredith was a bad friend to me. And like, I was feeling it. I watched the Housewife after show. I know what Meredith was saying behind my back. It wasn't nice. And that's pre-hot mic moment. So I did feel like a little bit of an outsider. And I was told they all tried to ice me out. And, you know, that was like a little like mean girl high school. I don't live in that kind of space. So, you know, for me, I was like, okay, like it wasn't going to be easy, but I'm not afraid to like hit things head on. Like you know, the one thing I have on my side is like my truth. And so for me, I was like, let's just talk it out, because clearly there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff being said, no accountability, rewriting of history. And I'm like, you know, we need to address some of this. But I do take full responsibility. I mean, like, I said horrible things that have hurt. I've apologized like 22 times. And, you know, for me, I'm like, I'll take accountability for what I said and did. I know what I did was hurtful and I take responsibility for that. But it doesn't negate the fact that there was a lot of hurtful things said and done, and not just to Meredith, but to me too.
Right. Where does your friendship with Meredith stand now?
I mean, how are we using the word friendship? but I think like Meredith and I get to a good place, and then there's all this nitpicking that constantly happens with me. And I mean, like, I am confident and secure with myself. So if you want to rip me apart and that makes other people feel better, go ahead and rip me apart. Like if that makes you feel a little better today, like that's on you. It's not on me. Right. But I have tried to have repair over and over and over again. And I don't want to be Jen Shah 2.0 with the apology tour. I'm just, you know, I apologize enough. I meant my apology. It was sincere. And that's just kind of where I am right now.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.